Oh, chat, did you hear about the payday thing? Chat, how many of you guys know what happened? Do you guys know what happened to payday? Do you guys want to find out? So, no, no, Payday 2 or 3. The game? Yes, the game for Payday. Apparently something went terribly wrong, and I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I've heard a few things here and there. But I want to show you guys because I know some of I assume some of you guys know what Payday is, so...
Starbreeze needs money so badly that they've just added subscriptions to a 12-year-old game.
Payday 2. Let me remind you, they added a subscription thing to Payday 2. Why? I don't know why. Your good as guess as mine.
In the form of Payday 2. And the reason why is actually what you would expect. It's the Payday 3, their new game is simply not bringing in the money that they need. And that's
Payday want a payday for real? Well, you know, it's pretty obvious, like he explained it himself. Payday 3 was just not a good game to begin with. Because if I remember correctly, its initial launch was not super well received for Payday 3. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna go back to Payday 2 and add a subscription to it.
on a pretty major scale. Just take a look at these player counts. Under 1,000 for Payday 3
Jesus!
versus 30,000 for Payday 2, the 12-year-old game. But here's what's wild. After launching a big discount bundle at 50% off, they then tried to quietly cut it down by 17% to 33% off. They got caught. They had to reverse that.
Are you serious? Can't wait for that Cyberpunk Payday. Now I gotta wait for Payday to play Payday. Any more subscriptions to life I need? Don't say that. Don't say that. They'll be hearing you. The video game industry will hear this. I'm just saying.
And whenever that price hike was happening at the same time as a new subscription was being added, it really wasn't quite a good look. And even Starbreeze's head of commercial admits this. He said, "They're not wrong. It's terrible timing." But as if this wasn't already a peak game industry story.
Wait, let me see. Starbreeze says, sorry, reverse price increase on Payday 2 DLC bundle. We definitely didn't handle this right. The community has been pretty clear about how it looks next to the subscription launch, and they're not wrong. It's a terrible timing. Nisser told PC Gaming, we definitely didn't handle this right and we'll be apologizing to the community. Hopefully there will be at least some acceptance that this was an honest mistake.
It's terrible timing. But as if this wasn't already a peak game industry story, well, Starbreeze actually just killed an entire other project. They laid off a whole bunch of people and they're putting more resources into Payday. So with that in mind, let's see what the hell's going on.
They were working on a new project?
You may remember a fun thing from November of last year. You see, that was when the Payday Twitter account literally told people, and I quote, "Dude, we need the money." And you know what?
What?
That's actually refreshing. It's honest. It's definitely true. Here's the problem that was going on. Their sequel had disappointed fans of Payday 2. Basically, the systems weren't there.
Co will put a subscription model to the basement. We will now have to... Shut the fuck up. No, I will not. Shut the fuck up.
Content was not enough. And sure, Starbreeze had rebuilt much of the game. They'd added more heists, but Payday 3 never really took off. And why would anyone switch? Payday 2 was cheaper. It had far more content, and it had modding tools.
It's not just because of that. The problem is that Payday 3 was not a renowned well game at launch. Like, there was a lot of issues with Payday 3. For God's sakes, even Actman caught some flack or so when he was playing Payday 3 and he was like basically boasting at how good Payday 3 is. But a lot of the audience said that Payday 3 was just not a good game compared to Payday 2.
There was just no incentive to move over. Now look at this. Starbreeze just released a well-regarded heist for Payday 3. They're revamping the entire skill system. They're bundling the DLC so it's less intimidating. All of these good things that so far are not converting the Payday 2 audience over. Which is obviously why they will want to get more money from Payday 2's audience. And we actually know how big of a problem this is. In November...
You want to know something? You want to know the funny thing about it? Force quit. There are some people Ah, flashbang. Oh god. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to scare you guys. Anyways, there are some people actually don't like my voice. Surprisingly.
Remember, Payday 3 was earning double what Payday 2 was earning. Now you may think, hang on a second, Payday 3 had under 1,000 concurrents.
I already did it
Payday
before.
2 is always over 30,000. It's just that those Payday people bought their DLC a long ass time ago, unlike the Payday 3 people who, you know, are
We must round them up.
Pretty new game. But just think about that.
It's because I have a broken voice at the end of the day.
12-year-old game. And according to the latest reports, that earnings ratio has not changed through 2025. So because of that,
Actually, you want to know something? I can sound like a front desk girl, actually.
Made their decision to monetize Payday 2 further. And the way that's rolled out made a lot of people very mad. So here's what they're offering. It's a subscription service that gives access to almost all Payday 2 DLC. The cost? $5 a month, or $20 for 6 months.
What? Are you serious? $5 a month for the DLC? Man, just buy the DLC.
Now, the context really matters here. You see, the last DLC for Payday 2 came out June 2023, but DLC for that game started releasing in 2013. So basically, you got a decade of DLC. And over time, just like with Paradox games or The Sims, the price to get all of the content ballooned. Because even if you don't need all the cosmetics and you cut all that stuff out, even on sale, you're looking at $200 plus of content, which is fairly hard to stomach. So in theory,
that is a lot. $200 in content for Payday. I assume on a sale? Question mark. Hold on. Go back real quick. Hold on. Oh no, it's about like 76 for Payday 2. If this is all of the well, they have a bunch of other stuff in here, so I don't think it's just only the, because I see what weapon skins, I see music for Chinatown apparently. So it's probably like less than 76.
So in theory, this subscription fixes that problem. If you have an itch to play Payday 2 once or twice a year and you want to bring along your friends, rather than asking people to buy lots of DLC or...
Yeah, but a lot of those are... let me see, hold on, go back. Yeah, a lot of these are mod packs, barbecue packs, the Butcher Western pack, the Gage Ninja pack, the Golden Grin Casino heist. I assume that's the heist. The Alysso heist. I assume these are these ones right here. I assume these two. I'm just taking a guess that these two are the maps that you do heist in. And probably all these other packs are just probably cosmetic stuff. So I would assume it just would cost a lot less if you just get the, you know. Hey, Anti, how you been?
DLC or only some of the DLC or all of the DLC. No, you can just chuck in $5 and you can access the complete product. Makes sense for those.
It's not even just cosmetics. It's just literally all the DLC for $5.99 or something.
Players.
Or $4.99 technically.
Take a look at the Steam reviews. They're really not happy.
Oof.
Over 200 negative reviews in the 48 hours after the announcement. You might be wondering why there's backlash. And some of it is people hating the idea of subscriptions for a 12-year-old game.
That is true.
New content.
That is very true. It is an old game, and they're charging subscription for this 12-year-old game because they're not making enough money on their most recent game, which is Payday 3.
Justify the subscription.
This is pretty
Others,
bad.
Though, are kind of mad that this could be taking resources away from Payday 3. You know, they could be thinking, right, so Payday 3 isn't really doing what you need, and now you're trying to over-monetize Payday 2 again. We're on to you. Now, Starbreeze responded to this to PC Gamer. And their head of commercial, Gustav Nasir, said rather
Oh,
explicitly,
we already did.
this has no direct
The video will
impact
be
on ongoing work on Payday 3.
uploaded.
And I
Was it
actually
today
do
or
think his statement
tomorrow?
makes sense.
I don't remember.
Adding a subscription doesn't change either game's content, it's literally just a new payment option in Steam. Now, I'm sure it probably took a bit of work to implement, but I doubt that's the same people who are making heists for Payday 3. But why release this for Payday 2? Well, the revenue is stable at 50% of Payday 3's revenue. And for 4 years, the concurrency has been shockingly consistent for Payday 2. It's really stunning. It's over 30,000
It's
people
crazy.
compared to the under 1,000 of Payday 3. But here's what a lot of reviews have pointed out. There is another factor. Something that looks very, very goddamn sus. And it's something that happened on September 5th, but until now went completely unnoticed. This is the infamous bundle, and this bundle collects almost all of Payday 2's DLC into one purchase. Now on September 5th, its discount dropped from 50% to 33%.
Wait.
Now the actual DLC prices stayed the same, but the cheapest way to buy everything was this bundle, and the bundle went up by 17%. In isolation, people didn't really notice. It's not like there's a fan base for just keeping up to date with that discount. But then something happened that would give people cause to take a look at that discount again, because suddenly the subscription looked like an even better deal. So players connected the dots, and the obvious narrative took hold, that Starbreeze inflated the bundle price to drive people towards the subscriptions. Now, PC Gamer interviewed Gustav whenever the subscription launched, and he called the price increase, quote, unfortunate timing, and said Starbreeze, quote, dropped the ball on communications. Yeah, fair enough. But after the article was published, and after everyone got mad, the devs responded. They went onto Twitter and Reddit, they called the price increase an error, they then reversed the discount change, which is good, and then our old friend Gustav came back to PC Gamer. And he talked about the community reaction. He said they needed to apologize, first for not warning the community, and second for not realizing the subscription would launch soon after the discount change. Now, he does maintain it was an honest mistake, that these things were not connected. But obviously, the price increase...
It could be, because you want to know the reason why? You want to know the reason why it could be an error? So, Capcom was, at least like the developers of Capcom for Street Fighter... What is it? 6, right? For Street Fighter 6, they were also stunned, like, they were stunned or so to hear that, like, the what is it? The esports side of thing was completely mishandled, and the way how they have it behind pay-per-view. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone did an error on this. Damn, unfortunate timing for increasing price for you. It's not even me, okay? Shut your bitch ass up. I swear to, I'm gonna smack you is what I'm gonna do, I swear. I'm gonna raise the price on your mom in a second.
Was intended. It was not a mistake. The mistake was how they handled it. Now here is what's actually going on, according to them. They were doing a general pricing review, and when they did that, they found something problematic. That the 50% discount on the infamous bundle was cumulative. Now what does that mean? It means that during sales, this bundle got 50% off plus whatever individual DLC discounts applied. So they basically just took a simple solution and lowered the discount. Obviously, and regardless of justification, it went terribly wrong from a public relations standpoint. But from the outside, we can see why this company would do this. They're preparing year 3 of Payday 3, reworked from the ground up, so they basically need every dollar they can get for that development. Because here's the truth, Starbreeze has been losing money for 2 years. Payday revenue is the only thing keeping them afloat. And that is why they're killing their D&D project, firing staff, and refocusing toward Payday more than ever. No story about game development on the European continent is complete without a mention of our good old friends at the Embracer Group. You see, in May 2025, an important thing happened, and that thing was that Starbreeze regained full franchise rights for Payday from Embracer, specifically from Plyon, which is one of Embracer's sublabels. A really badly named one at that. But the point is, Starbreeze had not fully owned their own game until that point.
Since then, the framing changed. Payday is now the core of the company, and that's why Starbreeze just announced the Project Baxter, which was the D&D co-op project supposed to be releasing in 2026, is now cancelled. The $27.2 million is being written off, and around 44 staff are being laid.
So the discontinuation of Baxter results in a non-cash impairment of SEK of 255 million in the third quarter, consisting of previously recognized development expenses. This write-down is fully related to the previous recognized development expenses and has no effect on Starbreeze's cash position. Headcount will be reduced by approximately 44 FTEs across employees and contractors, leading to the lower cost base going forward. The discontinuation of Baxter, combined with an increased focus on Payday's franchise, will enable Starbreeze to become cash flow positive in 2026.
Off pending union negotiations. So that basically means everything at Starbreeze is about Payday now. And that's why not everyone is being laid off. In fact, some of them are being redeployed to bring that team up to 50 devs by the end of the year. And the new CEO explained, to quote him, "We are doubling down on what our players love and what we do best, owning the heisting genre. Payday is our platform for growth." And while the cancellation might be a surprise, I think anyone who's been paying attention to this company kinda saw this shift coming, because they have been talking about it since August, and not just talking about it idly. They've been framing the future of Payday as 4 different strands of development, basically 4 different development threads. So
the first of these threads is Payday Core. That's Payday 3 and any future work. Then there's Payday Legendary, which is Payday 1 and 2. Then there's Payday Lore and Licensing, which is merch, comics, and transmedia. And then fourth, and most interestingly, Payday Partnerships. And said partnerships have already started. And this is where your mind's just going to explode, right? This is Notoriety. It's an unlicensed Payday clone in Roblox. But what happened is that Starbreeze gave it official licensing. And the reason why...
Wait, really? Oh, that's interesting. I did not know about this.
Is that it has over 227 million players. Yes, that number is real.
Jesus.
And I think we can all see the value for Starbreeze in doing a licensing deal with that, I guess, Payday knockoff that's got over 227 million players. But that's not all. There was also a PUBG licensing deal done with Krafton, where they're now implementing Payday content into PUBG. And if you want to understand how important this licensing side is, all you need to do is check out their Q2 report. Here's a quote. "During the quarter, it was our single largest revenue contributor." So, yeah, you know, there's Payday 1, Payday 2, Payday 3. You can buy those. Or there's licensing deals, which have ended up being their largest revenue contributor. Pretty impressive, right? That's kind of crazy, and I guess that's why licensing deals really are just the talk of the town within the games industry these days. Now, these...
Wait, would it be possible? Would it actually be very possible to, like, ask the licensor so to do, like, a fan-made Payday game, question mark? So curious. I'm just so curious. Like, where's the limit on this, you know? If Roblox can make a knockoff of it, then is it even possible to ask for that, question mark?
Projects, these sort of 4 pillars of Payday, of Starbreeze, they've got their own separate teams, their own separate cash flow.
You wanna know what the crazy... Actually, you know what just struck me right now, actually? The craziest thing is that they work with the people who made that Roblox game instead of trying to shut it down, you know? Not like Nintendo, you know? Nintendo shutting down any fan projects, but, you know... Maybe Nintendo needs to learn a thing or two, you know? I'm just saying.
Support itself, and in doing so, support all of Starbreeze's continued existence. And that's why they were looking back at Payday 2's consistent audience and trying to find a new way to monetize that audience. That's why they're limiting unintended discounts and doing things like the subscription, because they actually do need money.
Of course they do.
To another thing I've noticed, right? And that's that so many of us actually just play games that came out 10 years ago, or even more than that. There's one example that's always in my head, and that's Medieval 2, the Total War game. It always has massive concurrence in Steam compared to even newer Total War games, and I've always just wondered, man, if I was Creative Assembly, and I have that many people playing that game, surely I would try to sell them something and, make DLC. So maybe in doing things like this, they're beginning to work out how to actually meet their players. Now, of course, there thus far is no new content within Payday 2. Hopefully that will change. But to understand why they need the money, you just need to look at Starbreeze's story. This is a team that's been through multiple leadership changes and multiple rounds of layoffs over the last few years. They are under extreme pressure to deliver. Right now, the quick solution is just adding products like the subscription thing that they've done. That's a nice, easy to implement thing. It'll be a little revenue boost to show to the investors and make the game less intimidating for new players, which is pretty important in the long run. And it's something that takes basically no dev time. They've also clearly learned something from Paradox, which I haven't mentioned before on the channel, but you really should know about it. Paradox added paid DLC to City Skylines 1, not Skylines 2, and they added the paid DLC 18 months after the game's final update.
Oh.
That's another example of the sequel game not really going so well, and that does keep on happening. I think the one that's most in my head is...
You think they'll make... Do you guys think they're going to make more DLC for Payday 2? That would be crazy to see that, actually, instead of making it for Payday 3. I doubt it, but that would be pretty funny, though.
The move from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2. Whereas flashy as D2 was, it basically threw loads of the progression that D1 had made, in terms of gameplay and systems, into the bin for a fresh start, which meant that for so many players, the big new exciting game felt threadbare and disappointing.
It would, but I'll be honest with you, it would be pretty funny, though. It'd be really funny. It would be funny.
Just like City Skylines 2. This keeps happening. Now, when we take a look at their quarterly report, we see Starbreeze say they've got an improved content pipeline across both Payday 2 and Payday 3.
Something we now understand means diverting resources from D&D to Payday 3, but it seems like it might be across the whole brand in the future.
Now that
Wait, really?
But it seems like it might...
I guess so. Original publishing rights to Payday 3, and by the extension of full future focus put into Payday 2. Refocus organization, improve content pipeline across both Payday 2 and Payday 3. Pursuing transmedia Payday licenses deals with key players and pursuing transmedia Payday licensing deals with key players in the industry? Oh, that's crazy, dude. Pursuing different venues to expand the Payday franchise through various gaming experiences. Payday franchise's strategy in the pipeline, communicating and incoming. I don't know. It says improve content pipeline across both Payday 2 and Payday 3. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Might be across the whole brand in the future.
Now that quote makes me suspect there may be actual Payday 2 content coming, which would make
You hear that, Scrap? You hear that? There might be a possibility that we might get more content for Payday 2. We might actually get more content for it.
sense in a world where there's now a subscription. But there is obviously a risk here. They can't antagonize their existing audience with moves like price raising, not if they want to keep them around. And as I think we've shown, well, I've not been able to move those Payday 2 people over to Payday 3. They absolutely do need to keep those people around.
You know what they're, you know what, this is like my guess, okay? This is my guess what they'll do. I think, just for an estimated guess, right? Either they will remake Payday 2 with new fancy graphics and charge you money for it, for like an up, you know how like Nintendo has like the updated like graphics thing? Either they're gonna charge you for it, or it's gonna be for free. It's gonna be one of the two. I'm leaning towards that it's gonna cost you money for it, but I feel like that's what they might possibly do with Payday 2.
If their business is going to stay afloat. I suppose, well, that may mean they will be asking for some of your money. Very much hope they'll be doing that in return for new bits of content, perhaps taking a leaf out of Paradox's book in giving City Skylines 1 some new content. Of course, in a world where Skylines 2 is still somewhat floundering. And I know that compared to other things on this channel, today's story could seem quaint.
That's
We've been talking
crazy.
about the payment processor stuff, the online safety acts, layoff
I'm
waves
so
of
curious
thousands
if
and
they actually
thousands of
do
people.
that.
But I think this story is just a great little microcosm of game dev being pretty goddamn hard, and the basic financial realities, well, clashing with player interests, clashing with dev interests. I hope Payday people get some new content. But at any rate, if you want to watch a good video next, you should watch this one. It's about malware on Steam, but not just any malware.
Oh man, dude. Oh, dude, I'm so okay. They have to make something. I'm impressed that the CEO didn't blame gamers for not being happy with the price changes. It's nice to change of pace from some other CEOs like Randy, make your own engine pitch for it. As a fan of Payday 2, I can tell you exactly what went wrong with Payday 3. The game did the ultimate mistake of being online only. I remember that, yep. Around launch, their servers couldn't handle 70k players, and everyone went back to Payday 2, and some lucky bastard were able to get a refund from Steam. Then it just never picked up again because Payday 2 was just mechanically a better game with more content, and it guaranteed a always be functional unless they deliberately go out of their way to demolish their old games out of spite. Yeah, I remember it was the always online thing. Free update for graphics update? Nah, they will charge you a couple bands for it and a subscription to keep it? Probably. Subscription fatigue is real. Dude, yeah, I feel they might actually make more DLC for Payday 2. They might try to like give a remastered on that game or something. That's what it feels like, because it says Payday 2. Either they're gonna make DLC for it in that specific engine graphics, or they'll try to revamp the graphics and make them look more prettier, and then sell DLC for that. What frustrates me when a single player game requires online, that's what basically killed the game itself for everybody. A lot of the majority, that was the biggest one, because I kind of forgot which one it was that killed the game itself, but that was the one that killed it, was basically always online and there was no offline mode. Especially in this day and age, you always want to have an offline mode. That's crazy. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. Crazy how Payday, with Payday 2 success is going to happen. I'm so curious. I'm actually so curious to see if they actually make DLC for Payday 2. I would be shocked when I hear Payday 2, True, that Ubisoft game, you're right. Anyways, we're just gonna have to see and wait. We'll see what happens. But apparently they are increasing workforces for Payday 3 to make more content and to make it more better for Payday 3. But I'm so curious if Payday 2 will also be, we'll get some new content. Yep. Anyways, that's the end of the video. And peace.